Hey guys, it is Tristan with Nerdouts Newsstand, and Why the Last Man has been a point of contention for both sides lately. And I want to talk about it. I want to go over the first 3 episodes. So there will be spoilers in this video, but it is out right now on Hulu. It is done by FX. It is a show that has been in production for over 10 years. So it's nice to see it finally come to fruition. It was originally a comic by Vaughan and Pia Guerra. It was a comic that was on the Vertigo line from DC, and it was pretty beloved. It went for quite a few years, and a lot of people really enjoyed the way that Brian K. Vaughan told his story, just as they enjoy how he tells his story in Saga. Speaking of which, still waiting on that announcement for Saga. Now, with that being said, you can go watch the first 3 episodes, come back, and then enjoy the spoilers. But there will also be one every Monday, 10 episodes all together. So I'm looking forward to how this all kind of pans out, but reviewing it is judging off of those first 3 episodes. So basically, the premise of Why the Last Man is every male with a Y chromosome dies almost simultaneously around the globe. And we see it kind of happen in the first episode. Now, about the first half of that episode, you actually get to meet the main characters. Of course, you have Diane Lane as Senator Jennifer Brown. You have Ashley Romans as Agent 355. And I love her introduction. She is dating what I'm guessing is some sort of, my best guess is some sort of white nationalist, because she is pushed out of the room because they don't want to see a black chick, right? And then it ends up going off and she ends up killing him. But I really like her introduction. Then you have Ben Schnetzer. I'm sure I said that last name wrong. I apologize. As Yorick Brown, Olivia Thirlby as Hero Brown. Now, those two are brother and sister, son and daughter of Jennifer Brown. And then you have Marin Ireland as Nora Brady. I want to talk about that character specifically. I think she deserves a little bit more time to shine, and I really liked her character, but we'll get there in just a few minutes. And then we have Amber Tamblyn as Kimberly. She is supposed to be the Meghan McCain type. There is clearly a 2 faction starting. You have, Diane Lane, who's very similar in looks to what would be a Nancy Pelosi type. And then Kimberly, who is very similar in looks to what would be a Meghan McCain type. And I want to talk about that too. But in that first episode, after you're introduced to these main characters, we really see the tragedy that can't really be enacted in a comic book, because you can't do that massive world building that you can on television. And I think that's what I appreciate the most out of it, because it has an emotional burden to it. When you see a lot of people in New York, specifically when you're in Hero Brown, when you're in her shoes, right? You see people around her, a mother begging for help with her little boy, just the cries, the screams. Those are things you can't do in a comic book. And a lot of times, even when you try to have that emotional depth, it doesn't work out. Maybe the voice or the tone is wrong. But in this, you see a lot of humanity go by the wayside. Every single male with a Y chromosome wiped off the face of the earth in a moment. Can you imagine what kind of implications that would have? Not only people on the road, but people in the air, in helicopters, in boats. You have people that are at home with their family, or, maybe on the job. Power plants are going to go down. Oh, you're going to lose half of your workforce, if not more than half of your general labor workforce. And hell is going to break loose. And by episode 2, we see hell literally break loose. We see Diane Lane, who I will say these first 3 episodes, she is relatively the main character, her and York, but she shines every time she is on. she does a great job of playing that Nancy Pelosi type. And we actually see her take over as president. And she is able to kind of, work to get power back. We're seeing New York basically implode because there is no way to pump water out of the subway. Therefore, New York needs to be evacuated. There is disease-ridden water everywhere in the United States, specifically because that's where the show focuses on is the United States, but it's all around the world, right? And we see her try to take over, try to get in touch with different engineers and different women that can help. And it's really hard. There are people outside of DC, outside of the White House, trying to get in. And of course, she's trying to keep everyone calm and inspired, all while going through grief, because at that point in episode 2, she actually doesn't know that Yorick is alive. Now, she does end up sending Agent 355 to get Hero, and unable to get Hero, he actually comes back with Yorick. The one thing I want to talk about Hero is during that first episode, when we see everyone kind of go, start right before they go and, they die. We see Hero with her older lover, 40-year-old male that's married with a child. And I didn't expect the twist because it was different than in the comic book. And she actually accidentally kills him. And then everything happened. So he would have died anyway, but she still got to live with that grief. And I do like how specifically a little bit in episode 1, but mostly in episode 2, how they handle transgender characters. And I think they do a good job. Hero's best friend is a transgender character, and they don't, make it too big of a deal, but enough of a deal that you can sympathize with the ability of this character to only have 2 weeks left of testosterone, and what are they going to do from here on out. So I do think that was handled really well, well enough to satisfy everybody that was wondering what was going on in that. So in episode 3, we see kind of the beginning of the Republicans versus Democrat begin, because when Air Force 2 went down, the president, you find out in episode 3, was of course in DC, but the vice president was in Air Force 2. Everyone thought that the vice president was dead. Come to find out, not only is she alive, but she's female. She's still around. She should technically be president. She is a Republican. And not only that, but she is rather a fringe Republican, going on the slogan of Jesus wasn't vaccinated. Okay. All right. I'm not even going to touch that one. But they don't want this person coming into presidency and taking over something that has been well established now for months and coming in and changing everything. So we see, the Kimberly character, Meghan McCain type, right? Coming in and being super irritating, but that's her character. She's supposed to be that irritating. She's supposed to get under your nerves. You're supposed to kind of want to hit her. I think maybe I should hit her. But she definitely comes in where she's not needed, and we see that divide begin. So we are going to see the Republican versus Democrats that we saw in the comic book. And I will tell you right now, if you don't like political commentary, if you don't like looking at society with a mirror up to it, this is not for you. This absolutely isn't. But I don't mind it. I don't mind the way that they did it. I think they removed it enough from reality, but kept it close enough that it is relatable. And I think it's done really well, whether it's, like I said, the handling of the transgender characters or the handling of Democrats, the handling of Republicans, the handling of quite possibly what we see at the end of episode 3, which could be Agent 355 inadvertently making the Amazons. And Agent 355 also, just like Diane Lane, really shines every time she's on screen. So much so, I would say she outshines Yorick, and that's kind of a problem because he's supposed to be the main character. He doesn't have near as strong a screen presence as some of the other people, but Best character of all, definitely ampersand. I love the monkey. I love the idea that he is so well trained and he's working with Yorick. So I am curious where they are going to take this. I think it's very well done. I was pleasantly surprised. I was a little worried initially. I know I covered this once before when it started to get controversial, but as of right now, with 7 episodes left to go, it's great. It's an absolute recommend. Again, placing emphasis on if you like political commentary in your TV shows or your comic books. If you read the comic, you know already. So let me know, of course, what you guys think. I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.